Hey folks, we're going to try to get a few more proofs in so that you have some practice before the test coming up this week. And I just wanted to, this one I thought would be kind of straightforward, so I'm hopeful that you might be able to get it on your own. Take a look at what's given, take a look at what you have to prove, and I'd like you to think about the steps that you would do to prove this. Now, I'm going to take something off the table right away. This proof was in a section prior to us having corresponding angles. So you cannot in this proof, you cannot use the statement that 2 is congruent to 4 because they're corresponding angles. You need to use more basic concepts like supplementary, complementary, those kind of things. Even vertical angles is allowed, and you got to take what you're given, that 1 and 3 are congruent. And you also need to use maybe some of the properties of equality as well. So I'll try to get you started a little bit here. I'll go ahead, certainly I can go ahead and write what's given, right? Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and that's the big old G. And then what next? Now, before I say anything, I want you to hit pause and give it a thought as to 1 or 2 or 3 things that you might say next. And then hit play and let's see if we agree. So hopefully you have some thoughts in your mind about what you could do next. And I'm going to go ahead and throw some extra color in. I decided I'm going to try to be a little more colorful in these guys. Anyways, let's see here. I'm hopeful that you thought to yourself, hey, I know I got to prove something with 2 and 4, and I'm given 1 and 3. And there is a relationship between angle 1 and angle 2. So maybe that was your starting point, I hope. And so we could say something like, hey, angle 1 looks to me like it's congruent to angle 2. And if you didn't think of that on your own, I'd like you to hit pause right now and see if you can figure out what is the reason why angle 1 and 2 are congruent. Okay, hopefully you hit pause and you gave it a thought, and I would say it's because they're vertical angles. And I'm going to abbreviate. There we go. And then let's try something else. Number 3. What else? What might be another thing that we could do? Again, if you didn't think of these things, hit pause and see if you can think of what the next step might be. And if you can think of the next 2, that'd be fantastic. Okay, I'm hopeful that you've hit pause, and now I'm going to give you my thoughts. I believe that we could relate angle 3 and 4 because they are also supposed to be congruent, I believe. And again, if you weren't thinking of that step, you might want to hit pause and see if you can figure out the reason why. Okay, so hopefully you did, and I'm going to say to you that I believe the reason why is the same reason, vertical angles. Okay, great. Next. Let's go ahead and try for the next step. Now I'd like to start to bring things together. And again, if you think you know what the next step is, I'd love for you to hit pause. Well, regardless of whether you know, hit pause, look at the situation, see if you can figure out what the next step is. Okay, I'm hopeful that you hit pause and that you gave it some consideration and maybe even have the answer. And one way or another, I'm going to share with you my thoughts. Okay, so here we go. I believe at this point we're ready to say that angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. And let me see here. Let's see if I'm way off base or if there's, again, if you didn't think of that, or even if you did, why don't you hit pause and see if you can at least write the reason at this point. Okay, I'm hopeful that you did, and now I'm going to tell you what I think is the reason. It looks to me, let's see here, I wonder if maybe I was a little too hasty here. Let's see here. This one's kind of close. I'm almost thinking maybe I needed another step in between. I think if I was really being a stickler for details, I think I might need another step before I do this one. And just to show you good habits, I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. let me go ahead. Now, technically, I would accept going right to this. You're going to see in a minute. I think there's another step that I could put in here. Again, if you think you can beat me to it, hit pause, try it yourself, and throw in the reason. Okay, here we go. I think I need to throw in something like angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. And then I will have, I believe, everything that I need to do the rest. And angle 1 is congruent to angle 4 because I'm substituting angle 1 in place of angle 3 because 1 is congruent to 3. So I'm going to call this substitution. Now, sometimes we use transitive property. This is the substitution property. Sometimes we use transitive property, but in this case, I'm just substituting one thing. It's not a chain of things. So anyways, now we can get back on track. And let's do this fifth one. And this will be angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. And again, if you want to hit pause and come up with the reason, that would be great. Okay, I am hopeful that you came up with a reason for this. And what I'm thinking the reason is, I'm thinking it's transitive property. Because to me, if let's see if I can say this for you properly. If A equals how am I going to do this? How am I going to get the 2 is equal to 4? Seems like maybe I still need one more step. Maybe I was a little hasty here. Hold on, let me think. Okay, people, don't worry, I got it. And hopefully you beat me to it. So it looks like in order for me to use the transitive property, I have to go between step 4 and step 2. So what the deal is this. If we can say something like, here's angle 2, we'll call that A. If A is equal to B, which is over here, and if B is equal to C over here, then we can say that A must equal C. And I would call that a good use of the transitive property. So let's go ahead and get that in there. And that's our proof. Now, to me, the more proofs you can get in, the better. So I recommend you go back on the assignment schedule and you watch the other videos of the other proofs, and again hit pause, see if you can do it on your own. And the same thing with the student journal, and pull up the online textbook. Look in this one came from lesson 2.5. Look at lesson 2.6. There's proofs in both of those sections that you could practice on. All right, good luck, folks.